Hi friends, it is May Day. May is not only my birthday month, but it is also Mental Health Awareness Month, which is extremely important to me. I struggle with mental illness and I have a lot of friends who struggle with mental illness, and so I'm going to go hard and heavy, and it's going to be raw and it's going to be painful, but it also might bring some kind of, I don't know, clarity, solidarity, some new connection. I am a self-advocate and a peer support. And what that means is I am openly sharing my testimony. I am openly working through my issues in a healthy way. And I'm here to give resources. And I noticed that when I share things about my mental health or something I'm struggling with, a lot of you will come on and be like, me too. And I, I love that because I want us to have an open dialogue about it. I don't want it to be swept under the rug. I don't want it to be like, your crazy aunt that you just kind of avoid or, don't talk about. Because that's not fair and that's not right. I want that open dialogue, and I want you all to feel safe to come to me and talk about your struggles. And I have said this before, but anytime you come to me in confidence, I will never tell anyone what you just said to me, because I want to be someone that you can trust and, someone that will have an open and compassionate ear, because I will. It is extremely important to have someone to talk to, someone that you trust and feel safe talking to. And that is what I want while we do these video diaries about mental health. So, like I said, we're gonna get real truthful, and it's gonna be painful, might be hard, might be triggering. So I'm gonna go ahead and warn you about that. Triggers get, the word trigger gets thrown around a lot. And what it is when you have a strong emotional response to something. And, a trigger can be a sight, smell, sound, anything like that. And it can trigger that emotional response and cause great anxiety. Someone might want to act out, shut down. There's a whole variety of responses. So what we're going to start off with is, what I consider, the biggest turning point in my journey. So last year I had what was called a crisis, where my brain shut down. It decided it was not going to participate, which honestly, I hadn't been participating for a year and a half. I isolated myself completely from my friends, and I went on autopilot, and I did the bare minimum just to get through every day. And it was a struggle. And I hit a crisis in June. And like I said, my brain was just like, nope, we are no longer participating. And it landed me at rock bottom. And while I was there, though, I discovered that I have a wonderful support group. So you need a strong support group. Find those that you trust, those that are going to push you and hold you accountable. I have assigned my friends actual tasks to keep me in line, so to speak. Like, I have my sister-in-law, her job is to tell me to take a shower, because sometimes that is not on my list of things that I want to do that day or any day. And then another friend is supposed to make sure I eat, because I get so wrapped up in my anxiety and mood swings that I forget to eat often. And I mean, they all just show up for me. So find those friends you can trust. And right now I know it's hard because we're all in quarantine and you can't be with them and they can't physically check you out to make sure that you are in fact wearing clean clothes. So yeah, work on that. Find you your support group. Even if I'm your support group for right now, you can come to me with anything, everything. I am not going to judge you for anything you say or anything you have done. I will just be here to listen. And then if you want an answer for something, we'll look for that answer together. You are not alone. In fact, that is what NAMI's statement is, and theme for May is you are not alone. NAMI is a organization, National Association for Mental Illness, and I support them greatly. I think they do a great job of advocating and teaching loved ones how to help those that have mental illness issues. They're just a great peer support. So if you're looking for resources, and I will be posting a lot of resources from NAMI. I actually have a bracelet, the green one. Green is the color for mental illness. And the proceeds went to NAMI. So yeah, great resources on there. So find a therapist. I've been through a ton of therapists. Find you a good one. Support group. And then finally, one of the things that I started doing when I was in high school, and I didn't even realize I was doing it, was when I first started having those psychotic episodes. I started journaling, and I journaled a lot. Now, a journal is different than a diary. A diary, you just talk about your day, what you plan on doing tomorrow. It's basic stuff. Now, journals are where you start to process your feelings while you were doing a certain thing. And I keep a lot of journals. So this is my first one. And like I said, psychotic symptoms started when I was about a senior in high school. And that is generally when symptoms will start to manifest, is in your teens. You will start to notice, different behaviors, maybe even start having psychotic episodes. And they really ramp up in your early 20s. So just kind of a, backstory on that. So yeah, first journal, full of a lot of weird teenage stuff. A couple of poetries, weird stuff. This is my current journal. I am almost done with this one. This is a prayer journal that I decided to keep while I was doing my Lenten studies. It is a hand-bound Japanese journal, which I plan on teaching how to do during this month for my quarantined art club. So I made it special for Lent. And now, let me just journals. A lot of journals. Since I was a senior in high school, a ton of journals. It's a whole lot of life I've lived, a whole lot of mental struggles I have made it through so far. So I will be as transparent as I can be. There are some things I'm going to keep to myself for right now because that's my business. And that's the great thing about having a testimony or having a support group is you get to decide who you share with, how much you share with. There's no pressure to do it all, and there's no pressure, to recover in a day, because I hit my crisis last year and I could have another crisis at any given point in time. It's not a promise. But what you need to know is that every day is a new day, and you're not failing. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. On those bad days, make your way through it, figure out what's best for your mental health for that day, whether that be, journaling or just kind of, I don't know, I found baking has been good too. That teaches a lot of patience. For me, being outside is a huge help. Find those things that we call self-care and indulge in that self-care while you're having a down day. And then, prepare for a new day. And that is the basics. So that's the beginning. And like I said, these videos are going to be hard. They're going to be raw, but I want you to feel safe coming to me. I want you to know that I will be open at any given point in time. Now, I do shut my technology down at about 9 or 10. So I wouldn't count on a response then. But I am up at 7. So that's free for you to come to me. And like I said, I do not have all the answers. But I can help you find the answers, and I can get you in touch with options for therapy, psychiatric meds, which will be another thing we talk about later. And for me, like I said, I have reconciled the fact that this is going to be a struggle for me for the rest of my life. I'm going to have good days. I'm going to have bad days. And it's not easy to love someone with a mental illness because you want so badly for them to not be hurting, and you want them to just snap out of it. But that's not the case. That's not how it works. It is a process. The mailman's here. So like I said, it's going to be a process, and it's not going to be pretty. It takes a strong set of people to be there for you. And you also need to be there for yourself. Be patient with yourself. Have compassion to yourself. One of the best things my therapist ever told me was talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. Would you tell that to your best friend? Would you say that to your best friend? And for some reason that put it in a very serious context for me. Because I would, things that I say to myself are so harsh and so mean. And it is not helpful. So think about those things. Start to change that mentality. And so that's our intro to Mental Health Awareness Month. And like I said, my door is always open. Not my physical door because quarantine, but my Instagram door, always open. So I hope you guys are ready to start May with fresh eyes, enjoy the flowers, enjoy the nature, find the things that comfort you, and encourage all of your friends who might be struggling right now. Check on them, invade their space. That's what I told my friends is, since I have a tendency to isolate myself, invade my space. Do not let me get away with this. So take care and be prepared for a wild ride for the month of May. Okay, guys, have a good afternoon.